Naked Shamanism. Welcome to With Insights Radio. I'm your host, Iggy Garcia. I will take you on a journey across the universe through shamanism, metaphysical, and holistic. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Iggy Garcia Live. We're going to do an episode here. We're going to be taking a few minutes here to do a little ceremony beforehand. I like to light a candle to give thanks to my ancestors and to guide me in this journey. How are you? Good to see you. To those of you who are online. So I'll be here maybe about an hour or so. So if you guys want to hang around with me for a little bit, hopefully you can hear me. And we're going to do that. Got that going. Candles lit. Give thanks to everyone who's come before us. Perceived good or bad, they're still our ancestors and they're still part of our lineage, and we still have to figure out ways to heal those wounds and work on getting ourselves better, since we are the ones in the present moment who can heal all our ancestral wounds. So that's why we light candles. That's why we acknowledge them. That's why we give them, a purpose and a moment to be recognized, because we are part of them. We are part of them. I'm going to light a little bit of this is a common sage, one of my sages bundles that I grew last year. We honor ourselves, we clear ourselves, we clean ourselves. We put the smoke in our eyes so we can see the beautiful things. We take the smoke into our mouth so we can speak the beautiful things. We take the smoke into our ears so we can hear all the beautiful things. We take the smoke into our heart, into our spirit, and our soul so we can be one with all the beautiful things. We take the smoke on our feet so we can walk the beautiful path. We take the smoke into our hands so we can grasp and receive the beautiful things in the universe. And may the highest purpose be served. Let it all go. And releasing. Oh. So the common sage is a lot different than white sage that most people would buy in a store or use. Some people actually like it better than white sage because it's not so pungent, it's not so strong. So I'll leave that up to you, which one you like and which one you want to work with. But right now we'll let that burn in the background. Let that be this thing. I'm gonna put this over here. So I want you guys to take a moment to find a nice place to just relax and just kind of settle in. For those of you who are going to stick around for a little bit and hang out with me for this next hour or so. We're here to share. We're here to learn. We're here to get another view, another vantage point of what it means to be human. Being human is one of those things that we all are doing, most of us who are watching this. And being a human doing and a human being, it's two different things. But sometimes it can be difficult being on this path that we have chosen to walk or we have been born into. For many of us, it's not easy walking this earth and walking this planet and doing the things that we have to do every day. Sometimes we have things thrown at us. Sometimes we have tests and tasks that have been presented to us, and we have to make some very critical decisions about life. We have to make some very critical decisions about our own personal boundaries with other people or with things that we're in communion with or connected to. Life is not supposed to be hard and not supposed to be difficult, but they do have difficult moments, and we do have difficult times at times. But they're smaller compared to maybe all the good things that we have and all the abundance that we should be receiving and opening our hearts to. It's easy to focus on that thing that's right in front of us, that thing that holds us back, that thing that, is right in our face. So it makes everything else look blurred, and it makes everything else look like it doesn't even exist sometimes. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to try to get you guys into a little bit of meditation, just a little bit of relaxing. I want you to just kind of take Find a nice quiet place. I'm going to take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose again, releasing. One more time. This time, take it in and hold it for a little bit longer. Very good. So I want you to just take a moment and I want you to just gather your thoughts and think about just the last few days and what you have accomplished in the last few days. Regardless if you think you didn't accomplish anything or if you did accomplish things, I want you to really think and focus about the thing that you totally completed this week. Something, or maybe you're still working on completing it. I want you to just take a moment and I want you to think about all the steps and all the things that you had to do to get you to that little place in time to move into a proper alignment with that energy to bring you to that space. So take a moment to just think about that. Think about something that you accomplished or you're accomplishing or something that you would like to accomplish. Okay. Now I want you to start working backwards a little bit from the moment where you came to that point of accomplishment. I want you to walk back, and we're going to miss a few steps. We're going to move through pretty quickly, and I want you to play it backwards in your head. I want you to go backwards and just play it backwards, moving backwards. And we're at that point. I want you to get to that point where you made the decision where you were going to make something different today, something that you were going to do completely out of character, something completely out of what you weren't going to do, that made you get the decision where you are now. Now I want you to feel the emotions and the feelings that you were feeling at that moment. How and why that was so important for you to accomplish that dream, that goal, that task. I want you to harness and I want you to feel that energy. I want you to feel back. And the reason I want you to go back is because I want you to grab pieces and parts of that so you can bring it forward. That way it can prepare you for the next task. Just feel that. Once you have those pieces and parts, unless you feel you have those pieces and parts, I want you to move forward into the present moment. And I want you to watch all the things and observe all the things that are beside you, in front of you, behind you, as you're moving forward into this present moment. Now you have those pieces with you. Now you have them in your heart, in your spirit, in your soul. So next time when you're ready to do the next task, you'll be ready. You'll be ready to move forward into that. So with one deep breath, out, release, let go. Come back to now. Come back to this present moment in time. We're here and we're together. We have lit the candle. We have burned sage. We have meditated, a real brief meditation. Nothing very fancy, very, take it too deep and under. And you're home now. Well, today my topic is your imagination. Woo-hoo! Yes, the imagination. Albert Einstein said the imagination is more powerful than anything. It is the creation of the universe. It is something that, is just what makes things possible. When we think about our imagination, everybody has a different level, a different idea of what that looks like, what imagination brings to the table, what it brings to the table for them. But your imagination is super powerful, super powerful. Everything that we see, everything that's in front of us, everything that we can touch, taste, feel, or smell has some kind of connection to imagination. Somebody imagined it. So we're going to go a little deep here. So imagine if maybe as we were becoming created through, the eons of the universe, we were creating through our imagination in a way that brought us to this point in time. So we look like we do we smell like we do, we act like we do, we move through the universe like we do? Is it possible that we, as spirit, as creatures of the universe, created ourselves through the help of, universal energies and through, the Great Spirit? And then here we are. And now we're also at the point where we can actually create for ourselves. Create things that, are in front of us. We're good creators of the crap. But we're actually just as good creators of the good things that come to us. I'm not saying that everything that happens to you is because of your mind. But remember, there are other people creating too. And I think sometimes as human beings, we forget that other people are creating as well as we're creating. And some people are trying to create their own reality, their own universe, and their own, whatever you want to call it, they want to create it too. And sometimes we happen to be in the way. And sometimes we get caught in the turbulence of someone else's imagination, someone else's creation. And, not to get off topic, politics is a very good example of imagination and creation. People coming out with ideas and ideals and stuff that would benefit the whole. But not everything benefits the whole. And we know that. Not everything benefits the whole. But anyhow, here we are. We're here now. Excuse me. Clear my throat. But, our imagination is something that can take us to a place where we need to be when we're in a hurtful state of mind. Our imagination can take us in a place of creation where if we want to build something or we want to just create a foundation of something that we don't even have in front of us. We can live in our imaginations too. So the imagination is very powerful. It can also house us in space and keep us in a certain situation where we can't move forward or move backwards. So our imagination is that powerful. And how do we control our imagination? How do we hyper focus? How do we move it into the space that we want to? Well, it's like anything. It's like walking. When we walk, not all of us, some of us, blessed be, can get up and we started walking. And some of us had to just lay there. And some of us had to crawl. But our imagination is this. Our imagination is that speck, that powerful thing that can put us and create and put us into the space that can change our lives forever. Okay, so the amazing thing is we can change our personal lives. I'm a true believer of our personal life. And I'm talking about you or me personally. I'm not talking about the people around us, the people who choose to do things for them, whatever they choose to do. They are also creating too, and they're manifesting, and they're also vibrating in a certain frequency. Just because bad things happen to good people doesn't mean that they're bad. What happens is that you have other people also creating and manifesting and creating through their imagination. You could be the most beautiful, amazing person, and everything around you and everybody around you is falling apart. That doesn't mean that you have to fall apart with it. That doesn't mean that you have to give up who you are and have to become the rescuer of all these people. There is a point where people have to either perish, rescue themselves, or ask for help, find the way back, and it's difficult. Not everybody can do it. But the person who has the ability to create imagination, create these amazing scenarios for their world and for their lives, they are very gifted in order to see and open doors for other people. The only thing we can do is show people the way. There it is. And it's really up to them if they're going to walk that path, if they're going to go through that door or crawl through that window or come out the attic or come up the roof or through the vent pipe. Who knows how they do it? All right. But the thing is, our imagination is everything. We imagine sometimes crazy thoughts, and sometimes we imagine these off the wall, ideas and stuff. But they're imagination. And every time we think a thought, it goes out to the universe because somebody else thought it and rolls back into us. We're a collective species. We actually work together in ways that we can't even understand yet. Science can't even prove it. Metaphysics and the holistic worlds still can't understand how it works, but it works. We have these aha moments where we go, oh my God, I had that same thought. Or all of a sudden, we're all in the same place and we're all healing together. All right? But our imagination is something that can't even be explained sometimes. And I heard from one of my teachers once that we, after death, keep creating imagination. We keep creating. We don't stop creating. That we keep creating. We keep manifesting. We keep evolving and moving forward. Because death is an illusion. But yes, when people die and when people have bad situations, what we feel is the pain. We feel the loss of them being present with us. And I can speak for that from my vantage point, because I have lost, like many people have lost. And what you miss is the connection, the human connection. And, people who tell me, oh, well, you can still talk to them, they're with you, blah, blah, blah. Part of me believes that and part of me doesn't. As much as I've been doing this work, part of me believes that and part of me doesn't. Because not everybody feels the same way. Not everybody sees the same way. Not everybody has the same ability. Some people can see their ancestors physically. Some people can feel them, all right? And some people can actually, just be with them. And then some people can see them from a distance. And then some people can actually invite them into their space. Now, I don't know which one I am. It varies from time to time. But I do know this, that even in your imagination, you can create what that would look like. Earlier in the show, I was talking about how our ancestors, we honor our ancestors. I lit this candle, okay? This candle is just a representation of the flame burning. This flame burns in honoring them, to remember them, to keep the fire lit, to keep that imagination going. Everybody who is listening or watching or will be watching or listening to this podcast, you've all been chosen. You've all been chosen to represent your family. You may have brothers and sisters. You may have cousins and, uncles and aunts. But you have been chosen to represent the ancestral line of your family. And so have your siblings, maybe. But not everybody's going to honor that task. Not everybody's going to hold the flame, the torch, or whatever you want to call it, and represent. Because not everybody understands. Not everybody understands what that means. Okay? The sevenfold lineage of people who have become before you, thousands and thousands of people, falling in love, falling out of love, being sacrificed, being sold, being killed, being manipulated, being, wealthy, being whatever you want to call it. You add the pieces and parts you want to add to that. Most of you know your history. Most of you know, majority of you know where you come from. Majority of you know who these players were. But then there's a time, 50, 75, 100 years, where we know nobody. We don't go that deep for a lot of us. Even 500 years, 1,000 years, that lineage that was before us. So imagine all these people lined up behind you, cheering you on, right or wrong, whatever they did, right or wrong, they're cheering you on because they're counting on you to connect with them and to be in the space with them, to actually heal and work with them. How do we heal ancestral wounds? How do we heal those things? Because most of us walk this planet wounded. Most of us are trying to create these worlds through our imagination, all right, that will keep us housed in the space that keeps us safe. But most of us create these imaginations of things that happen to us. And we have had some traumatic moments in our lives, all of us, myself included, where, they can override a lot of the upbringing that you've been taught. And it can also put you in a place of very guarded and very, very defensive. But it also can put you in a place of very honoring and very nurturing too. When we start to understand that we are the key and the link to changing and rewriting the history of our ancestors, that's powerful medicine. Now, in Western cultures, I don't know if we do that. I can't recall of anything in Western cultures where they do, per se, do that. Now, in very many indigenous cultures in my country, Native Americans here in the north, in this side of the country, they honor their ancestors. They remember them. They pay tribute to them. So I find it very, very powerful that, once the funeral's over, the story's not done. We can't just forget about people and just say, hey, we buried them, it's done. No, but for many traditions, it's important every day to remember them so they don't become forgotten. Okay, the Dia de los Muertos is a good example, okay, where indigenous people in certain cultures, in Mexican cultures, they honor their dead. They have celebrations for the dead. They remember their dead. I don't know the whole details about it, but I have many friends from, who are Mexican, and, it's a very powerful ceremony, and I have very many friends here in the United States who celebrate that particular holiday. And that holiday just honors these people who have transitioned and crossed over a long time ago. They honor them through pictures. In my culture, what we do, we actually light candles on Monday. On Monday, we light the candles of purgatory. We honor our ancestors stuck in purgatory. We honor them for them to repent and do the things that they have to clear in order to move them into the space so they can go to heaven. So these are traditions, these are beliefs, these are things that people carry on and believe. And and I believe sometimes our ancestors are stuck in the present moment. They're stuck in time. They're frozen. If you're frozen, they're frozen. Okay, so we're moving this energy. So how do you do that? How do you move the imaginary line in your mind to help them move into space? Well, just like you can create the Star Wars trilogy, with your imagination, you can do the same thing with your mind. And you can write a book. You can paint a picture. You can write a story. You can speak the story. You can speak it and say, hey, you know what? My ancestors were this, blah, 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 and you rewrite the story. Here's what happens. When you rewrite the story in a good, positive way, all that energy flows forward. Okay, flows forward into time, because time is an illusion. Okay, time doesn't exist in the sense of how we look at the watch. You look at the watch, oh yeah, it's almost 3 o'clock. Okay, it doesn't work like that in the spirit world. It doesn't work like that in our world. Because, without time, we would just function. We would know what to do every day. We would get up. We would go to sleep when our body told us. But the reason we have time is because we have jobs, because we have industry, because we have this, and we have that, blah, 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 blah. And that's why we are where we are, and that's why we age so much faster, because someone has told us we have to age faster. But here's my point. That aside, when we want to work with our ancestral lineages, if we don't know them, then create one. Create one, rewrite one. It's not lying. You're not faking. You're creating something that you would like it to look like, how you want your family. Because if you tell a story long enough, good or bad, eventually that story becomes real to you. Most people who are in traumatic situations create the story even worse and worse and worse and worse, so they make it even worse than they may have been. I'm not discounting that it wasn't, because I also have had trauma. But I have also caught myself rewriting a story years ago, not so much now, years ago, about something that happened to me, and I amplified it to the point where the story wasn't even how it really happened. I added more things to it. I added more layers to it. I actually became a superhero, I think, one time in the story, because I had to defend myself and defend that person. This is what happens. Your imagination kicks in. The safety mechanisms of your body. So how do we honor, like my mom and dad honor? We honor the things that they did. Most people do. We honor, their accomplishments, but we also honor the way they loved too. Sometimes we forget how our parents loved. Some of us are fortunate enough to have parents. Some of us don't have parents. And for those of you who have lost your parents in an early age, you can also rewrite a story of what your parents would look like and how they would have been and how they would be. And sometimes a surrogate family comes in and takes care of you. A new mom and dad. Not your biological mom and dad, but a new mom and dad. Or new brother and sister. And these people come in, they feel spent. Your blood family sometimes is not the closest relation to you. Sometimes the people who are outside of other families, family of choice, we call them. That's a terminology they use in this country. Family of choice. Your family of choice can sometimes be the most powerful group of people to help you to incarnate into something completely different and to make you feel better. That's why people join gangs. That's why people join clubs. That's why people join the army. That's why people join the Boy Scouts. That's why people join this and that and blah, blah, blah. We join all these things because you know what? It's not that we're lacking. We want to belong. Humans want to belong to something bigger than them, something more powerful than them, something that is more expansive than them, in order for their imagination to be created and to move forward. Some of us are good creators on our own, but some of us have to align ourselves with other people's energies in order to create the imaginary effects of things. If you ever sit down in the movie theater, have you ever just watched the credits? For years, there was a time where I wouldn't sit and watch credits. And then I'm going, you know what? I'm going to sit and watch credits. Because you know what? Even though there are a certain group of people who get the accolades, certain few people who get accolades for doing the work they do, the actors, the directors. But when you look on that list, thousands of people to make one movie anymore. Thousands. I'm talking about thousands. I'm not talking about 5 or 6 or 10 or 500. You're talking about thousands of people. Teams, groups, and all their names are going down that list. That's the ancestry. That's the lineage. That's the part that make that movie. That's what created that environment. That's what created, and that's what's so amazing. When I use this movie analogy, because it's one that you can actually comprehend. It's one that you can comprehend. One that someone can understand. That even the top billed person who's the star is only the star because of all the support working its way from the bottom and working its way back up, flowing like this, and just creating. That's why some movies are successful and some are not, because of just the creation, the imagination, the team. And then what happens? Why do we go to the movies? Why do we step into a reality, someone else's reality, someone else's mind? Because it's a way to go into another place, another idea, something that is really cool to us. But all of us, if we had the right opportunities and the right situations, we could actually create our own freaking movies, our own imagination, the things that are cool to us. Imagine if you just were able to create Star Wars by yourself, if you were the one who created it. I bet you had no clue that it was going to turn out to be that way. I'm told George Lucas didn't know it was going to be a big hit. I don't think he did, honestly, truthfully. But you know what? It wasn't that. It was that he brought all these aspects from his imagination and from other people's imaginations and other people's ideas, and he brought them together. Historical pieces to fit into this thing. White stormtroopers representing, they're the bad guys in whatever side you're looking at, but they're in white, and then you have one guy who's in dark. And, it's just it's neat when you start to flip the tables on things. It's pretty interesting when you can able to create that and make that completely different. That's why I like Star Wars. Is one of those good movies I like, because it was based on the foundation of someone's imagination, and it's creating other avenues, and it's spawning more imagination, creating more imagination and more imagination, and you create this movement. And that's what happens. Everybody is able to create a movement. Now, and the only reason I use movie analogies is a lot because this is someone's imagination. Someone had to think this. A team of people or one person, someone really had to really concentrate and go, how do we tell this story? How do we write this story about the character who is completely different than everybody, but still the same and still caught in the world like we all are? Because the Joker, if you've watched that movie, okay, the Joker movie, and it's another universe. And what I'm talking about is it's a whole other universe. This Joker movie is not even like how the Joker movies were all laid out before, because it's somebody's imagination. Someone said, hey, we need to change something. We need to make something different. Maybe this guy didn't become this way because, he fell in a vat of chemicals. Maybe he was actually beaten by society to the point where he just had enough. And, the right opportunities played out, and the right opportunities, put him in a situation. That's the movie. I can't give you much more, but you know what? That's how life is. Movements are created because things happen to people, and then they go, I've had enough, and I'm defend myself, blah, 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 and then they do it, and then they say, no, other people see it, and they go, oh, wow, this guy's doing this, blah, blah, and this guy's doing that. This is how we do it. And your imagination is so powerful that someone else latches onto your imagination, and then the imagination starts to take form. It starts to create a movement, and it starts to move into this place. So that's why it's so important to know how powerful you are as a human being. As human beings, we are extremely, extremely, extremely powerful. Our sphere of influence is very powerful according to the group of people that we associate with, and the people, like maybe our kids, our families, and how we can actually push energy towards them. In the same way, vice versa, people can do that to you. So if you want to create a better world, then think about what that would look like. What's that look like to you? Yeah, some people may call you a dreamer. Some people may call you goofy. It doesn't matter. Who cares? It's time to get over that when, worrying what other people think. It's time to say, you know what, I want a better world. And how would that better world look like? Not necessarily to eliminate anything, but how do we use the things that are in front of us and how do we make them better? How do we shift the energy? How do we shift things to look different? How do we take the thing that we hate the most, the thing that we don't like, the thing that triggers us the most? How do we shift that energy and make it into a more positive light? What can you find positive in the negative? Is the negative more powerful than the positive? No. Because in being a human, you have your negative moments and you have your positive moments. You have your moments where you are who you are. You have your enlightened moments. Okay? You are moments where you have awakenings because they're moments. The best scenario and the best analogy I can give you is this. We are like the wires in your light. Okay? And there's a bulb in there. Okay? And then all of a sudden, someone flips a switch. Okay? And when you flip that switch, all of a sudden the light comes on. And you're having an enlightened moment for a minute, 2 minutes, an hour, whatever. And then someone turns it off. Boom. And then you're gone. Then you go back into your flow, your other flow. You go back into your flow of normality, I guess, if you want to call it. But then someone flips the switch again. Poof. But you have the potential. That's what I'm trying to say. You have the wiring. You have the bulb. You have all the things. And then sometimes then that aha moment flows through us and boom, it kicks us in. And all of a sudden we're like, woo, yeah, here we are. It's good to be here. You know, just like my bracelet, it's good to be here. You know, that's what happens. We're just like the lamp and the light switch. All the components are there. All the components are there, but something has to kick in. Something has to go, boom, hey, you know, and then, but we don't always stay, we can't stay in that energy too long because we have to come back and come back into the moment because that moment's taken over right now. That moment's creating the energy. That moment's creating the flow, a different flow. Then you come back into your other flow. So if you ever get stuck and you wonder why, if you're trying to obtain enlightenment or awakening, you have it. You have it. All right? You have it. You have enlightenment. You have an awakening. Okay? Believe it or not, there's no magic place that you go to. The magic place is right in front of you. You are the magic place. Okay? And when someone turns that light on, boom, there you go. And you have it. If you're waiting for somebody to tell you you're enlightened, then that's good for you. That's what you need. That's what you need to hear. You need to hear someone say, oh, you're enlightened. Oh, okay, thanks, man. I'm enlightened. Ooh. All right? And I'm not discounting that. I'm not discounting that works for you. For me, I don't need someone to tell me I'm enlightened. I know the moments I have enlightenment. And I also know the moments where I'm like, feel pretty crappy too. Because we're like the light switch. We're like the wires in there. We're all housed in there. Everything's housed in there. And then the energy that we've been looking for flows through. Boom. Comes in. And then we're like bright. And everybody's like, man, what's wrong? What's up with you, man? You look like you're happy, you know? And you are happy. You are in a good place. You are in a good moment. And that's why the moments are very powerful. It's powerful. And you know, that electricity that flows through our lights is just energy. It's the soul of Mother Earth. It's the soul of the universe being housed in these big transformers and these big batteries. And when we flip the switch, boom, it's gone. And we flip the switch, we're out. Same thing. We are the same way. We are constant connection with spirit. Constant connection. The person who usually turns off the switch is us. We're usually the one that turns it off, or a moment in time turns it off for us, temporarily. And when I say temporarily could be a lifetime. Temporarily, it could be tomorrow. Temporarily, it could be 1 hour. Temporarily, it can be. Because temporarily doesn't exist in the frame of time. Sometimes you have to go through all these things and all this hardening and all this creation, all this imagination in order to prepare you to get where you are today. Where you are. And sometimes it sucks, man. And sometimes it's horrible. And sometimes it's detrimental to our health. But that's what we needed. That's what we personally needed. And you know what? I don't wish it upon anybody. All right? I don't wish about anything. But when you have those thoughts that you even question, those thoughts that you question, you go, oh my God, why am I even thinking that? You should question yourself. Hey, what's up, man? Why are you having that thought? You need to like chill and get out. You need to like go back into the sink, go down the drain, and go back to the universe and get recycled, because I don't want to own that. But we're humans. We're human beings. We're flawed. There's perfection in the imperfection of who we are. There's this amazing thing that, Creator created. Because that's just who we are. We are a piece of creation. We are a piece. We are a spark. We are a little minute piece. You know why we're so powerful? Think about all the advancements that humanity, I'm not talking about the animals, the trees, I'm talking about just humanity alone, just man and woman alone, what they created to, for the benefit of mankind. Here's my thing, mankind. Hopefully we can create things that are good for everything, the earth, the animals, and the environment, the earth, because there's some things that harm it, and I get that. But man is very powerful, because man can create. Your laptop, this phone you're looking at, this is a creation. This is someone's imagination. This was somebody going, I wish I could do like Star Trek, where they talk on those little walkie-talkie flip phone, or iPads, where you're clicking and it looks like, Bones is kind of going, hey, I think you got a broken leg. They use that little thing on your body. Imagination. That's somebody's imagination. My calculator. All right? This little calculator I use. Imagination. This was someone's idea. It was in the universe. Floating around. And someone said, I wish I could create something that would make my life easier. But somebody else goes, okay, I got it. And then they go, hey, what do you think about this? He tells the other guy. The other guy goes, yeah, I can make this for you. Okay. And next thing you know, you may be the person who created the idea, but there's another person who takes the idea, plants it in the ground, waters it, it grows. The next phase is the next person who takes it. See, that's the thing. I think a lot of people get frustrated because they have these great ideas, but they just don't know how to implement them. Well, the thing is, you have to implement them in a way that is positive, in a way that works with other people. You cannot work alone. No one has ever survived alone. You may give yourself a lot of credit for doing a lot of things by yourself, and bless you for that, because I am the same way. I have that. But when you really want to move into that space where you really want to expand, you got to invite some people into it. You got to invite some other minds, some things that unlatch your mind, to help you open up your mind and go, yeah, I never saw it like that. Yeah, that's a good idea. You still have the last word to say, no, I don't like that idea. But when you work with energies and you work with people, you have to be able to say, hey, let's do this. Right? It's, because so many of us want to live on this island by ourselves, and we want to recreate the wheel, and we want to recreate something that's already created. There are people out there waiting for you to say, hey, you know what? I got this great idea. Will you come help me? You may have to sift through a whole bunch of people before you get the right person to work with. But that's what it's about. Never give up on your dream. Never give up on your imagination. Never stop imagining. Because even when you think you stop imagining, you're always imagining. You're imagining, that my life sucks. Oh, my life's great. Oh, I got the best friends. I got the best family. My family sucks. That's your imagination working. You're creating, you're releasing endorphins. You're releasing chemicals in your body, that affect you physically, because your imagination is so strong. You want to create a world for yourself? The world that you have to create is the one that is good for you. Because then what happens, people who are in alignment with you will connect with you. They will find you. They will be with you. They will work with you. You will work with them. And what I'm saying is this too. Sometimes you're going to be part of the team and you're not going to be the lead, but you're part of the imagination team and you're creating this. Right? Everybody has a role on this planet. Everybody has a role. Nobody is excluded. Nobody is alone. Nobody is not imagining. You are imagining right now. I don't know what you're imagining, but you're thinking about something, and your thoughts create power. These thoughts that we think about create countless things. You have the imagination, I'm going to sleep in a little bit. Then you go to sleep, then you have a dream, then you have imagination. Imagination doesn't stop. You're always creating. Always, 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 always. And I don't know. I'm just saying, just be the best version of yourself in the moments that you have. Because you know what? All you can do is be you. I can't be anybody else but myself. And at times I'm not in alignment with myself. But then I have to pretend that I'm in a good place, which is my imagination. I have to guess what's good for me at this moment. But you know what? What I'm thinking? The day I stop dreaming, the day I stop having imagination, what happens to me? I'm here to tell you, it doesn't stop. You just start creating another story. You start rewriting another chapter. You start writing it in a different offshoot. Okay, so you never stop imagining. You know, even when you're sitting in your car at a traffic light, you're imagining, you're creating. The song you listen to, somebody created that song. Someone created those lyrics. And most of you, and I know most of you probably go, man, I had that idea, that clapper. You know, that was my idea, blah, 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 you know. I have my idea too. No, but the point was, those aha moments where you know that the universe is working in your favor. Okay, so you didn't create the clapper, so you didn't manufacture it, so you didn't market it. But you know what? You got your clapper. You got your clapper because now you can use it. Now you've created it in a way where you didn't necessarily benefit from the financial aspect of it, but you benefit in the way where you can use it. And that's another form of imagination. That's like potentiality imagination, where you create these imaginary thoughts and you cast them forward. So it sounds pretty easy, and I don't think it's complicated. So how are you going to rewrite your story? How do you want to see your life unfold? What would you like to see different? Well, first of all, write it, rewrite it. Write it, think about it, change it. Act like you already are who you are. I'm wealthy, I'm a millionaire, I'm whatever, blah, blah, blah. Think I am the great holistic wizard, you know, whatever you want to call yourself. I don't care. Start being that part. Start being that energy. Start flowing into it. That energy doesn't come until you flow into it. When you ask to flow into it, it doesn't just pop in. If you think you're just going to be, oh, well, I'm going to be the great, you know, blah, blah. Okay, fine. If you would say, I am the great blah, blah, in my own world, you know, then what happens is you start to create. Your energy starts to change. You start to physically change. You start to mentally change. You start to do the things that would be ideal for that situation. So many of us want things, but we don't participate in it. Versus we ask for it and we wait for it, and then it never shows up. It doesn't show up because it's not supposed to show up. You're supposed to live it. You're supposed to be it. You're supposed to flow into it. You're supposed to be part of it. You're supposed to be entrained in it. You're supposed to be in rhythm with it. You're supposed to be in harmony with it. And so that's what is so powerful. When you think that you can do a podcast, stop thinking about it. Just do it. Get on it, record it. If it's terrible, who cares? The only person who thinks it's terrible is you. You know? Most people are going, well, most people be honest and say, oh yeah, it was terrible. But my point is, you have to do it. The day the first person created the podcast, I'm sure nobody probably watched. Everybody's like, oh, whatever. He's just recording himself talking. It's just, you know, it's like being on the radio, blah, blah, you know. There was a time where a selected group of people could only do a selected group of things. You could only be a DJ because you had to be part of a network or you had to be part of a radio station. You could only be on TV because you had to be an anchor, blah, blah, blah. Now there's thousands of people online who create these shows and do things like I do. Thousands, I'm talking about thousands, and you know, people watch them. And you know, and these people create their own reality. Okay, so I'm not getting the information I want. I'm not getting the message out to the world that I want to get out. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the message out by doing my podcast. And here you are. And you can do it too. You can do anything you want to do when you put the energy and the effort to it. And when you have a good strategy, a good game plan for that. And sometimes you don't do it alone. Sometimes you're going to have to ask for help. Sometimes you're going to ask for people to say, hey, I need your help. I want to do a podcast. I know nothing about it. You know, and you might have to invest. You may not have to invest. It depends. But these are just ideas. Just ideas. So never quit. Never give up. Stay focused. Stay on the journey because that's what you've chosen. Okay, you are exactly where you are because of things that you've chosen or people have chosen for you or things you've dictated. I'm where I'm at because of my decisions, mostly. I blame me for everything that happens in my life. That's how I work. Good or bad, I blame me. That's it. Because now as an older person, I have a lot of control over a lot of things. As a child, maybe I didn't, but now as an adult, I have the responsibility to heal the child who was wounded. I have the responsibility to fix, to love, to nurture, to heal the one who was hurt. I am out of line if I don't heal that. I'm out of line if I use them as a crutch. I'm out of line if I say I'm a victim. I'm not a victim. No, absolutely not. Because you know what? Now we're healed. That person has no power over us. Never will, never had, never will be. You know, and they don't own me from the grave. Because you know what? I choose to move forward, and I choose to heal the little Iggy that was hurt. Because that's what I want. That's my imagination once you create. Little Iggy, he stood up, he did right, he moved forward, and now we scope into the future, and little bigger Iggy is doing much better. Because bigger Iggy took the responsibility to help through the other little Iggies to help that one Iggy who was hurt, who was damaged in that moment in time, who was frozen, who was stuck. Because I had to create an imagination in order for them to be able to talk to them and move them forward into the space. They had to feel safe, man. They had to feel safe. Iggy of the past had to feel safe with Iggy of the future. Most of the time, we don't feel safe with the version of ourselves because we still carry that garbage, that baggage. You don't have to live wounded ever again. Never. You don't have to feel that your past controls or owns you. You don't have to have PTSD in order to, because you're trapped in time. Your imagination can help you get out of all that. But you have to do the work, and you have to be ready, and you have to move forward, and you have to do it. When you start labeling yourself, and you start putting yourself in categories, you get stuck in them. You're there. You can't get out. Someone told you, well, you got this, you got that, you're this and you're that, you can't be anything, move forward. Then you start living in these, you're like this. Well, I'm like this because somebody told me I'm like this. God bless them. They try to help, and they're trying to figure out what your condition is. I get that, no problem. But at what point do you want to go? What point do you want to have control of yourself? Control of what's good for you? Ask yourself that. Okay, so I have all these things going on in my life. At what point do you want to take over? When do you want to have control? When do you want to say, hey, I've had enough, man. I'm not any of that stuff that you call me. I'm now better. I am now here. Those people, nope, have nothing on me. They can't own me. Because you know what? I'm love, man. I'm love. There's love, man. I am a version of love that's good for me. Maybe not for you, but good for me. Those little wounded Iggies, now we can play Panda. Now we can go play soccer. Now I can hang out with my grandkids. Now I'm not stuck in my house. Now I'm not stuck wherever. And I'm talking about me. I don't know your story. I have my own stories to write. I don't have time to write your stories. You have to write your stories. But if you need help writing your stories, you got to find someone to help you write your stories. But you got to be willing to step into the past and see yourself vulnerable. And that's difficult for people because they think they become vulnerable in the future. Temporarily. You only become vulnerable temporarily because you have to get there. You have to get naked. You have to see it. We're just little kids in grown-up suits. That's all we are. Some of us are bearded. Some of us have long hair. Some of us are older. Some of us are younger. We're just little kids. We're just little kids trying to figure it out. We just have more responsibility and more knowledge, more memory, more experiences. Our hormones kicked in and made us look different. But in generality, we're kids. We're not childish. We're childlike. But to be childish is different. To be childlike is where you want to be. You want to be in the moment. You want to express and feel the moment. Be part of the moment. You want it to be flowing through you. There's no reason why you can't have peace of mind. There's no reason why you can't be where you want to be. But you're going to have to guess what holds you back. You're going to have to guess. And that's using your imagination. That's using the thoughts that roll through your head. Everybody can find that harmony when they're ready to move into that space. And those who never find it is their choice. It's not because it wasn't there. It's because they just haven't had the right connection most of the time. And even in that, when you want to find that, you have to create the imagination that brings you to the point where you meet those people, when you meet those healers, when you meet those doctors, when you meet those particular people who are like you. So never stop imagining, never stop creating, never stop Create beautiful things. If you have grandkids, oh my God, create with them. If you didn't have the opportunity to create with your kids and do the things you wanted, here's a great, beautiful opportunity. They're just waiting for you. Your imaginations are waiting. They're waiting. It's almost like a little magical world up there, waiting for you. Waiting for you to step in there and go, what are we going to do today, Iggy? What are we going to do? And if you're just drinking coffee, use your imagination. Who are you having coffee with? You having coffee with yourself? You having coffee with a fairy? You having coffee with a troll? You having coffee with a prime minister of another country? You having coffee or tea with a great sage from the past? Because those of you who do business know that you have to create masterminds. Masterminds are people who, dead or alive, help you get to where you need to be. You don't have to have masterminds who are living. Your masterminds can be alive. We call them guides. In this community, in the holistic and metaphysical community, we call them guides. Your guides are there. Ask for them. They'll help you. Your guides will be there willingly, openly, ready to help you when you're ready to take those next steps. You can jump. You can take baby steps. You can run. You can fly. I don't care how you get there. It's really up to you what you want to do. But your imagination will do it. Imagine it. And how do you do it? You do it. You don't wait for anybody to tell you. You have to go, I need help. Say you need something's wrong with you. I need help. So you search out the help. Your imagination goes, well, I'm going to go to the doctor. I'm going to create. So you have to create this world because no one can create for it. You can't create the world for anybody else. Okay, I'll be honest with you. It's very difficult to create a place for someone else unless they're in a safe place where they don't feel vulnerable. Because they're watching you. They're watching you create. If you don't create your world and you're not living your life, it's hard for them to step into that energy. And I'm going to tell you this. If someone is not moving forward with their life, don't wait for them. You must not wait. You must be the example. You must be the light. You must be walking forward so they can see that there's hope, that there is a different path that they can walk. There's a different way. You don't punish them and parent them, okay, because nobody wants to be punished and parented. Nobody wants to be told that they're screwing up and making mistakes. But you walk your path. You walk your light. You walk your moment. You walk your incarnation. You walk your imagination. You walk it and create it because that's the only way. That's the only way anybody else follows somebody else. People follow people because they see that they're going someplace. Most people don't follow somebody who's not going anywhere. Most people don't get into a broken bus. Most people ride the bus that's moving and working. I know that's a big thing in Peru. A little bus breaks down, bus driver gives everybody their money back, gets on the next bus, they all hop on. You got to keep moving with the flow. The flow will change. Sometimes the flow will stop, and then you have to find a new vein to go through, and you have to find a new avenue to go through. Never quit. How? You know how. You're not willing to do it, though, sometimes. Your how, okay, is big. That's why you're stuck. Okay, your how is the reason why you can't move. Don't ask how. Figure it out. Do it. Don't wait. Okay, change those. Change that thinking. Change that mentality. Change that and move out. Because you know what? No one's going to give you the answers unless you search for them. Someone will pop in and someone will throw you some ideas and stuff. But at that point, you have to make the decision. Is this good for me? Is this where I want to be? Am I okay where I'm at? If you want to stay in the mud and you want to get stuck, you're more than welcome to stay there. No one is holding you back. And even when you're moving forward, nobody is holding you back. Nobody is waiting to see what you're doing. You just do it. Because if you're waiting for acknowledgement, you're waiting for accolades, you may get them, you may not get them. It doesn't matter. It's not how you're supposed to flow. Just flow. Move. Keep going. Keep going. Don't quit. Because the minute you wait for somebody else to say, hey, am I doing a good job? And they say no, oh man, what am I doing wrong? You weren't doing anything wrong. You asked the wrong question. You asked the wrong question. If someone comes up to you, hey, what are you doing? Come on, check it out. Follow me. Really, but what are you doing? All the way you can find out is you see me where I'm doing, where we're going. Because so many of us wait for somebody to say, hey, you're doing a great job. I mean, you're so good. It never happens. It's very rare. If you get it, awesome. Then don't get stuck on the, oh yeah, they thought I was great. And then the next person comes over and goes, man, that's really terrible. And you're like, wait, this person said it was great. No, this person said it's not. What's going on? You're scratching your head. Both temples. Huh? That's why it's important to follow your own bliss. That's why it's important to follow your own imagination. Create your own place. I'm not saying you have to discount people and you have to ignore them. But everybody, everybody has opinions. Everybody has their own ideas. Most people aren't even qualified to give an opinion on what you're doing. It's kind of like someone having a belief about something, and then someone says something, well, I don't like that because it doesn't matter. It's your belief. Your belief is that I believe that this happens this way. That's the way it should be. Period. End of story. And you'll be much happier. Because if you wait for someone to give you accolades, you're waiting a long time. And then when you do get accolades, and they're not how you like them, and not the way you thought they were going to be, it is. The survey things, those little survey things you get in the mail to get a free burger or get a free chicken nugget or something. I always crack up and laugh at that, I'm thinking to myself, sometimes the employee gives it to me, sometimes they don't, and sometimes employees have bad days. And I don't usually sign these sometimes because that person who's having a bad day, I don't know anything about their life. I don't know anything that's going on in their world. And if I was to say one negative thing in one way because I was upset because they didn't serve me properly, and then they get fired because of that, and I wouldn't know it, okay? And say I wouldn't know, but the universe knows. The universe knows what you do behind closed doors. The universe knows what happens to these people. And that's why I'm very hesitant about writing. And if I do, I'm usually pretty honest about how I feel. I usually don't give a negative comment. Because sometimes I think it's not my place to give that. My place was in that moment in time, to say, hey, you know what, your service isn't really good. Maybe you're having a bad day. She may say, yeah, I'm having a bad day. You walked in the door with your smile on your face. But that's humanity. That's life. That's how it is. That's how we are. Okay? Well, my candle is just about almost burned out here. We're getting close to the end of our show. So I hope that you got some pieces and some parts and some things that you could use, and some things that maybe you don't need at all, and some things to add to your toolbox, because that's kind of what we do here on the show. We add things, we take out things, we agree, disagree. I'm not asking you to be in alignment with me. I'm not asking you to do anything. I'm just asking you to listen and hear and see what resonates with you, if at all, if anything resonates with you. I'm not here to make you follow me or whatever. That's not my job. My job is for you to figure out what your path is. My job is just to be present and share a story with you and see if it resonates with you and if it's in congruency with you. That's all it is, and figuring it out. So for those of you who want a little bit more information about me, you visit me at iggygarcia.com. I'm going to be at the Reiki Center this Saturday at 7 p.m. That's in Grandview Heights, Ohio. We're going to have a healing drum circle there. So these are the type of things that I put on. So for those of you who want to go, you should show up and come. So with that, I want to say thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being on Iggy Garcia Live. The power of our imagination is very powerful. So my imagination is going to go to a different direction now. I'm going to go do something else and create other imaginary things and create other imaginary scenarios. So if you ever have questions for me, drop me a line on Messenger. I do sessions and readings and stuff. So if you need one of those, give me a call. Let me know, and we'll hook you up. Much love, guys. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon. Be well. Ho'oponopono. Irisikwi. It's good to be here. It's good to be here. Because that's what the universe wants us to say. Because it wants to open up the universe. We want it to come back and give us all the goodies. Give us all the nougat. All right, guys. I love you very much. I know I'm very appreciative of you. Thankful for you. Because you know what? I know you could be doing anything else for an hour. And I thank you for hanging out with me and sharing and questioning and asking and giving me your comments. I'll read your comments after the show. You guys are awesome. Pass this along to friends if you feel like it's important to you. And I will see each other soon. And we'll see each other someplace in the universe, someplace in Columbus. We'll run into each other and we'll give each other a hug. With that, be well. Namaste. Be well. Be good. Be yourself. Use your imagination. Never quit. Never stop. Peace and love.